And
I'm just going to sum up my part of it, saying what I opened up with. This was well done. It was well written. Brad's very best effort so far, and it was just a pleasure to watch.
I agree that this was definitely their best effort in filmmaking and production and acting. Came out extremely well, and I really liked it. Definitely did. But, and this is just my opinion, my personal favorite of all the movies that Brad and Ryan have made is, once again, still the Cinema Snob movie. Thought it really got everything that we love about the Cinema Snob, and out of all the movies that Brad alone has made, my favorite is Game Boys.
I'm not sure what category is his movie that was my second favorite is Hooker with a Heart of Gold.
That would be one that Brad himself directed.
Okay.
That was another great film, and if you want to see more of Sarah Gobble, she's the lead in that movie. She does an excellent job in it. And we get to see Brad playing two characters in that movie.
We're off track now.
It happens.
We're off track.
He plays a violent pimp and a psychotic crime lord with an eye patch. And now that we went through the whole plot of the movie with the spoiler section, let's talk about the rest of the cast now. The ones I think we made our feelings pretty clear on were Alison Pregler, Doug and Rob Walker, Malcolm Ray, Sarah Gobble, Tamara Chambers, and I don't know if I went full into Brad Jones. He was great as Willie. And David Gobble, I think you did, I don't know if I did. I thought Dave was excellent in his leading role here as the Rickhead. He was the lead, kind of, in Brad's earlier film Cheap, but even then that was kind of a 2 stars movie, him and Brad. Here Dave had to carry the whole film, and he was great. He had a lot of scenes where he really had to do his traditional angry bits, but he also had to have scenes of him both happy, sad, and just all the different emotions that everybody goes through. Dave said in a live stream while they were filming that he wasn't sure how he was doing, and Ryan said, "He has done some great work." And I agree. I think Dave carried himself extremely well and really helped you care about this character.
Yeah, he did the things that he needed to do to make you identify with the lead, identify where he was, when he was confused, when he was this and when he was that, and explaining his character as he went through. A very, very difficult job to do over the length of the movie, and he did it well.
Very complex.
That's the way the character was written, and he was able to deliver.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Don't get what, Rick?
He said this would work. He said if I converted the others, that I would get you back.
Who told you that?
Jesus or Santa or whatever. I mean, that was the deal. I convert my followers and I get you back.
I am not some prize for you to win.
Elizabeth! No. I did this all for you!
And now on to the supporting cast. Another one of Brad's regulars who has a small role here is Brian Lewis, or as the fans know him, Slaver Brian, appearing as Burton Bupo, who's supposed to be a parody of, I don't know his first name, but the kid from Heaven is for Real, whose last name was Burpo. And here, Brian's character has a book called Heaven is Totes Real, Yo. And it's through Burton that the Rickhead finally fully believes that he went to heaven because Burton talks about his own experience, which matches up with something that Santa Christ said. Santa Christ said he tried appearing as a sandwich to somebody, and that person ended up eating him. And we find out that Burton was that person.
Did he look like this? No, not at all. Damn. You're gonna see Santa Christ soon enough, Rick. He looked like this. What? Yep. Well, then what? Then I ate him. I mean, not the pickles. He said he screwed up the order. I just tossed those over there.
Silly bit.
But fun. And the house that they were at for the scene with Brian Lewis, that house, like a lot of the houses in Brad and Ryan's movies, are reused a lot over time.
Familiar set.
Like the house that Brian Lewis's character lives at was the same house that Noah Antwiler's character in the Cinema Snob movie lived in. And I think it was also the home of Brad's crime lord in The Hooker with a Heart of Gold and Max Force's home in Cheap.
I'll have to defer all that to you. I don't have that kind of memory.
And some much smaller actors in this film include Brad's ex-wife and still very good friend, Jillian Zorowski, making an appearance at the very beginning as the Rickhead's mother, who appears, she doesn't, it is definitely a small cameo, I guess. If there was any cameo that anybody could feel cheated on, maybe it was Jillian's, because it was very brief. I think all she does is tell her kid, oh, that's nice, whatever, and then goes on.
Yeah, she's kind of bowed out of Brand's production stuff as of late, so it was a nice little nod.
Yeah. And, this may be stupid, but I just think this is funny. The Rickhead and Willie are brothers, and this woman, the mom, is obviously, I guess, Willie's mom as well.
I would think so, yeah.
So I just came to a funny conclusion. Jillian, who used to be married to Brad, is technically playing his character's mother. I just thought that was funny.
Fun.
You really think about it.
Yeah.
And the kid who played the young Rick, Aidan Bart, wasn't the worst kid actor I've ever seen.
I did fine.
I guess, they didn't give him that many lines, and that was probably for the best. Like, I'm not someone who hates talking shit on bad child actors, because if a child actor sucks, they fucking suck. But this kid, he didn't suck, he just, I think it was best that they didn't give him that many lines.
Hey, watch it, kid.
Jesus? Are you Jesus?
Sure, whatever. Just, don't let anybody know I'm risen. It's bad for business.
In this opening scene, we see kind of where the Rickheads' hate of religion started, where it was like Easter Sunday, and this guy who was supposed to play Jesus shows up, and this guy is drunk, and the church's head minister, I think, or priest, tells him they can't use him because the guy went on a drunken bender the night before that made the papers. And this drunk actor then angrily takes away the Rickhead's Jesus action figure, which had actually blood on it. And he breaks it in two, and I guess that scars Rick as a kid.
I guess.
And the drunk Jesus guy, whose name is Terry, is played by another one of Brad's fellow Channel Awesome producers, Nash Bozard. Do you know Nash?
I don't.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I like Nash. In what I've seen him in, he comes off as very friendly, but I don't watch the stuff he does. He does this kind of podcast thing or live stream thing called WTFIWWY. What the fuck is wrong with you? And it's like a show where he and this woman named Tara cover news stories and give their take on them, like their opinion. And Nash is very friendly, but I'm not a fan of what the fuck is wrong with you or the format. Yeah, but here, as once again, like with Alison Pregler, when Nash is following a script done by somebody else, I think he does a good job, and he was fine here in his little cameo as Drunk Jesus.
He was fine.
Definitely had the angry look. Once again, no disrespect, just what the fuck is wrong with you's not my thing. And then there's Zach Lavoie as the park ranger.
Yeah.
He was pretty fun. He's often very fun in the stuff he does. He had a great role in the Cinema Snob movie. No reason I think you should check it out. And Brad said he's one of the funnest people to work with, and I can believe that.
Yeah.
Sorry, no entry into the park. What are you talking about? There's a deer right there. Look how cuddly it is. Just want to shoot it.
No can do.
What if I just shoot it right now?
Alright, I don't let you off with a warning on that, but as punishment, no one gets that deer meat. He just died for no reason, much like your false savior.
Fun fact, he's a former child actor. He played Steve Martin's baby son in Parenthood.
In days of yore.
Flynn Hanners as that minister of the church in the opening scene.
Right.
He was actually also the firearms expert on the set.
Oh, okay.
Like for those scenes where they're in the park.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they were using real guns. And just telling them, like, no real bullets, but be careful what you do with this.
Yes. Because they were very well rehearsed when they would both pull it up, and they must like had done
I noticed
a mental count, and they both fired at once.
I noticed when the Rickhead puts his rifle over his shoulder, I noticed how careful he was to not actually have the barrel go near his head. That was an interesting, good touch. That was a good touch to show that they knew what they were doing.
Yes.
And Brian Irving, another one of Brad's regulars, has a cameo as one of the Rickhead's fans. He's credited as Internet Neckbeard. Not much to say other than he comes off like an angry neckbeard on the internet. And just gonna say, not every neckbeard is a fucking asshole. Just some are. And not much to say about Irving. He didn't have much to do here. And the only other cameos worth mentioning very quickly are one of the internet commenters angry at the Rickhead, our director Ryan Mitchell himself. He was that guy that had what looked like a Emmy or an Oscar behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking the video of the higher quality, the guy who was kind of fat with a beard, that was the movie's composer, Michael Scicciano.
Okay.
Yeah, he's done the composing work for Paranoia and the Cinema Snob movie, as well as the theme songs for most of the other web shows, like The Nostalgia Critic.
Right.
He's a very talented musician, I think.
Was he the one that did the end song on the movie?
No, I don't think so. He might have taken a part in it, but from what I read, the song was mostly done by Robbie Rist, who voiced one of the Ninja Turtles in the live-action 90s movies, and Anthony C. Ferranti,
Okay.
who is, I think, a friend of Ryan Mitchell, and this is pretty cool to find out. Anthony C. Ferranti is the director of the Sharknado movies.
There you go. Who would have thought?
Yeah, the guy who did Sharknado helped make Jesus Bros theme song. Go figure. And most of the angry internet commenters you saw, from what I read, were contributors to the Jesus Bros campaign. There was a perk where if you gave $1,000, you could have a role in the film. I think this was those guys. I would have done it, but despite what our surroundings may suggest, we're not made of money. And, God, I cannot believe we forgot to mention him, and this probably makes us look like idiots. We didn't talk about Farhad Mohammed as Carlos.
We mentioned him earlier on about being a good actor, and he had a fun character. He's the second billed person in the movie.
Which I think is an extra funny thing. This movie that's parodying Christian films, the second billed actor is someone whose last name is Muhammad.
I think it's a lot of fun from that perspective. Plus, he got kind of a strange little character, but he plays the good friend of the self-absorbed Rickhead, and that's.
I think it was a good supporting character. He was definitely one of the stronger characters in the film after the Rickhead. Farrar, Dave, and Allison got the best characters. I think Farrar's character is meant to be a parody of the token black friend you see in some Christian films and other movies. Because he is a huge part of it, but I noticed throughout the film there's a lot of instances where the other characters don't fully acknowledge that he's there.
I didn't pick up on any of that myself, one way or another.
That scene where the Rickhead's like, "Oh, Carlos, I almost forgot you were there."
Well, yes, I mean that was spoken, sure.
I made a pact with God. We're not setting foot in the same state till the day of the wedding. Only after the first kiss will I cross over into the same state. Right now she's living in Hawaii, just to be safe.
Careful there, Willie. You're even turning me on, you sex fiend.
Oh, Carlos, I almost forgot you were there.
Catch!
There's this running theme. I don't know if it could be qualified as a gag, but there's this running theme throughout the movie where Carlos constantly is reminded of the night his wife died, and everyone else is completely ignorant of what's going on with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're all focused on their own stuff.
Yes, particularly Dave.
And then Carlos is like, okay, just going along with their stuff.
Good friend.
Do you even know sadness, Carlos? Oh God, Dana! Dana! So much blood!
I was too sharp. I was going too fast.
Dana! I'll call 911! They didn't even put in a stop sign. You're right. We should go to the woods. I think hunting will be pretty good today.
I know, there's so many deer on the road, we almost got in an accident.
We wouldn't want that.
Come on, Carlos.
We got together again for a bit. Until...
Bye, Willie.
Bye, Rick.
Farhad has been in a lot of stuff for Channel Awesome. He was, I guess, the co-star of the, at this point, what looks like failed game show, Pop Quiz Hotshot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Farhad was the best thing on that show, and he's been in a couple of Nostalgia Critics. And he was also, he's been in a bunch of other stuff, like Diamanda Hagen. He was in a review of hers. For a very amusing cameo that I think is one of the funniest bits they've done with him. Diamanda and Linkara were reviewing this transgender superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Diamanda was referencing this movie she reviewed a few years ago called, this is the actual title, Gay Niggers from Outer Space. And in her and Linkara's review, before she said the title, Lewis covered her mouth because they're white. And then she's like, but I want the title, or I want it to make the reference. And then they hear Ferrard singing the theme to Shaft, but working his name into it. And they're like, "Hey, Ferrard, do you want to do a cameo?" And he's like, "Sure." And then we cut inside, and they're like, "This is like the time we saw," or "This is like that thing from," and then we cut to Ferrard, who, looking completely unenthusiastic, goes, "Gay niggers from outer space." And then they're like, "Thank you, you can go." And he's like, "This is the last time I agree to a cameo without reading the script." Just good, silly fun among friends.
Yeah, but he was a consistent character throughout here, and he used the.
He's a good actor.
He
Very talented.
He used his silly laugh a lot, and that was a good part of the character.
Ferrard's laugh is a little hit or miss for me. Like, here in a movie where it's scripted, I think it worked very well. I've seen when they did the Jesus Bro live stream, they were all having fun, joking, and Ferrard was laughing, doing the laugh you see here, literally every 5 seconds. And he has a fun laugh, but on loop, it gets to you after a while. But not a bad thing. Just saying, got a little. But Ferrard, he was great as Carlos. Definitely the second strongest character in the film, and he definitely deserved second billing in this movie.
I'm being tested, Carlos.
That's right, you are. You're testing positive for hepatitis G-O-D.
I'm not in the mood at the moment for humorous euphemism. I'm sorry.
Last thing I'll comment on with Carlos, that scene where they parody the cups from Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas, where they hold their cups up. How do you think they did with that parody?
Well, they did fine because it was just so in your face. Very good.
Let's cover our mouths so no one can see. I don't get it. Santa Christ said that if I became a Christian, I'd get Elizabeth back.
Yeah, you have been rather in their face about your newfound faith.
Jesus wants me to get the word out to my followers. I have to post videos about what I've seen.
I don't know. Your fans seem to be rather volatile about things they don't like.
It was fun, but I think they didn't make the audio out of sync enough.
Comes up. Alright, man, check this out. We gotta go on the offensive. It's like the rapper Sugar Free said, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. They're already taking away our freedom of speech. I can't say Merry Christmas at work no more. I have to say Happy Holidays, but I am not in a daze. I am wide awake.
It was fun, but you didn't do it 100% right.
Well, in truth, though, they weren't saying long speeches the way the guy with behind the cup that they're parodying did. And so it would be difficult to do the short lines out of sync. You got to give them that, and they were both doing it. And
Well, we both have our own opinions.
yes,
And one of the reasons I brought you here is because I knew we wouldn't agree on everything.
and we don't agree on everything.
Yeah. And that was another reason I brought my grandfather, aside from the fact that we both contributed to the movie's budget. I'm an atheist, and I'm not going to speak for him, but he definitely had a more religious upbringing than I ever did. So I thought that would lead to some interesting thoughts and feelings.
And so it has.
And as an atheist, I think this is definitely a good film. The portrayal of the atheist is, as Brad said, meant to be a parody of the way Pure Flix portrays atheists.
Oh, clearly. And but on the same, he didn't parody the character so much that
It felt,
that you couldn't get a lot of humanness out of him. And,
Yeah.
and Brad left that in, and that's a credit. And that the complexity of being able to do that with a character in the midst of parodying what others have done with such characters was well done by Brad.
one thing I'll quickly say, and not going to make a big deal out of it, I do see it's a parody of Pure Flix's idea of what atheists are, but I think Brad was also, in a way, parodying the stereotypical angry internet atheist. Because if you're gonna lampoon the internet, gotta go for that area as well.
Yes.
And I'm not saying anything, and I'm not taking it too seriously, but there are some people that think the Rickhead might be a parody of T.J. Kirk, the Amazing Atheist, and
PJ didn't come to mind when I was watching this.
I didn't see that, but part of me wonders, is that what Brad saw when he wrote this? Like, I'm not gonna get too serious or go into certain areas that I usually don't go into. He is angry and he is very vulgar, but I do think he is intelligent, and his videos are not just mindless rants on things. Like, they are rants, but he definitely thinks about what he definitely does his research and thinks through the subjects he covers. It's at least what I think.
Yeah, he's not the least bit shallow.
Anyway, that was just something I wanted to air my thoughts on, and I still like the film a lot. I thought it was very good, a very good parody of the Christploitation films, the internet community, and thought it had a very touching ending in the end, and was more complex than I think anybody thought it would be.
Well, good scripting by Brad and
Ryan Mitchell.
And Ryan Mitchell. And I think that it was clear to me that there was a lot of good production value in this film, and good directing on the part of Ryan. And good directing on the part of Ryan.
And Ryan was also the movie's editor. Did a very good job there. And going to quickly run through, not going to go into too much opinions. Line producers, Ed Glazer and Lachelle Hunt. Co-producers, Alex Bigley and Patrick Buss. Executive producers, Brad and Ryan. And the cinematography, which was expertly crafted to copy and make the way the PureFlix films are shot, was done by A.J. Young. And yeah, that's pretty much our whole review of the movie. I just want to list a few other quick things. The movie was filmed in only 8 to 10 days. And for a movie with a shoot that short, I do think it came out very well. When they were raising money for the Indiegogo campaign, they were aiming for $50,000 and got to $55,120. And during the campaign, an anonymous fan donated $10,000 to the budget. And someone was like, "Who donated $10,000 to Jesus, bro?" And Dave Gobble said, "A goddamn hero, that's who." And everybody, Brad, when he casts his movies, usually writes the roles with people in mind, and he usually gets them, I think. But there was one person who Brad tried to get to for a role in Jesus Bro that they didn't get, but Brad says they came close. Popular Christian rocker singer Carman. If you don't know who that is, go look up the Cinema Snob review of Satan Bites the Dust. Brad pretty much explains everything you need to know about Carman. He's a televangelist Christian singer, and usually gets pretty creative with his music videos. Brad says they almost got him to sign on for a role, but the guy's touring schedule just didn't give him any free time. And I don't know how that would have turned out, but it would have been interesting if they did get him.
Yes. I'm not sure what it would have done for the guy's career. But
I asked Brad in a Q&A if what role Carman would have played if he had been cast, and Brad said,
"Who did you want Carmen to play?" Because I didn't think, it's not something that I thought about until way late into pre-production, so I didn't really have a character in mind. I would have been surprised if it actually happened, but it turns out it came really close to actually happening. I don't know. He could have, like, maybe we could have had him be like him and Reverend in the wedding scene.
And I think a good note to go out on for this review would be, shortly after the Indiegogo campaign for Jesus Bro closed, Kevin Sorbo, the star of God's Not Dead and from way back in the day, Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, announced that he was directing and starring in a movie called Let There Be Light, which has the storyline of the most popular atheist in the world having a near-death experience and becoming a born-again Christian. And Brad's response was, "Oh shit, now we gotta cancel Jesus, bro."
I think not.
And I agree with everybody that said this. This is just so funny that this actual Christploitation movie has a plot so similar.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how similar it was, but...
When we're done here, I'll show you the trailer. If you had to give this movie a rating, what would you give it?
Well, I'd say it's a giant leap in upgrading the quality of the movies that Brad has done, which haven't been bad, but this is great.
They were low budget, and he knew it.
Yeah, and the writing was excellent, and the execution was excellent. Especially a lot of people who have been working with Brad rose to the performance in their roles, and that was good to see as well. Overall rating, I'm not sure what to say. I'm just saying I like this movie. It was fun. I want to see it again so that I can pick up on some of the nuance that's in there that I'm sure that I didn't pick up the first time through.
I like it a lot. It's a very smartly made film, very funny, and definitely one of Brad and Ryan's best. Is it my favorite religious film? I still like Kevin Smith's Dogma the best, but this is definitely number 2. I definitely recommend it, and on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 7.7. Well, this has been not the first, but hopefully just as enjoyable, another review of Jesus Bro, brought to you by me and my grandfather.
And me.
And hope you liked what we had to say. Hope it wasn't a complete waste of your time. And I look forward to Brad's next project, Shot on Shitio. Whenever it comes out. Come on, man. You kind of were teasing us back in November. I'm kidding, but come on. We want to see it so bad. Later.